What's up, guys? Welcome back to Ty's Rides. Right now, guys, I want to talk to you about gravel cycling. It is fall here in Kansas City and winter is quickly approaching, which means it's time to ride some gravel. I'm not sure about you guys, but I love getting away from the cars, getting out into nature and seeing more things that you don't typically see on a road bike. I'm joined now by Reese Fowler. Here's Reese. You guys have seen Reese on some of the other episodes. Reese, what do you like about gravel riding?
No traffic. Being a person who's been hit by a car, I'd say the less cars, the better.
Less cars, the better. Right now, guys, gravel bikes are evolving. They're becoming more advanced. You're seeing gravel bikes with dropper posts. You're seeing gravel bikes with all different types of suspension. Gravel bikes are getting lighter. It's kind of becoming its own little niche. We ride a lot of gravel in eastern Kansas. It's important that we have decent gravel bikes. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. This is the best place for doing gravel. You got Dirty Kansas right down the street.
Yeah, Dirty Kansas coming up. We're going to be doing a lot of these training rides, but we want to talk about the suspension a little bit. Reese just picked up. How long have you had this fork?
Had the bike for a little over a year. The fork for about 2 months.
What is the name of the fork? It's the Lauf Grit.
It's a Lauf Fork. The True Grit is the bike that they make, but they started out making forks. They make fat bike forks, cyclocross forks, and or XC mountain bike forks, and then gravel forks. So this is their gravel option. And then last year they started making a complete bike. Our buddy Dustin has that full carbon True Grit bike. But this is a Grit Fork, and it's got you can fit a 650B or 27.5 mountain bike tire, 2 inches wide, and then I've got a 700 by 38 on here right now. You can fit up to a 700 by 47C wide tire.
So have you noticed when you're riding the bike on some rough gravel? There's when the gravel gets regraded, it's super chunky and there's some rough spots. Have you noticed some relief in the vibration? Because you came from a carbon fork on this bike, right?
Yeah, it came with a carbon fork, weighed about 726 grams, and this one comes in at 900 grams. So it didn't really change the weight a whole lot. I was kind of expecting a mountain bike style suspension fork feel, but it is way stiffer than a mountain bike fork. It takes care of the vibration. It only has 30 mils of travel, which is plenty for gravel. It takes care of those small bumps that you constantly get that gives you hand fatigue. But it doesn't. It's stiff enough to where when you're standing up to climb or sprint, it doesn't take away any of your power like a mountain bike fork would.
Right. So with only the 30 mil of travel, it does just enough to pretty much soak up those vibrations. My bike, I know you guys have probably seen some of the other videos. I've got the 2018 Specialized Diverge. It's got the Future Shock, which I think is like 20 or 30 mil of travel. But the difference there is my shock is right under the stem. Right under the stem between the, I guess it'd be the head tube and the stem. You kind of get the same effect, but what's neat about the Lauf fork is it's actually in the springs. Explain how the springs work. So
it's a gravel frame, and then you've got fiberglass leaf springs here, and the axle floats on the leaf springs. So it cuts down on the weight and allows little vibration. It doesn't move side to side in any direction. It just moves up and down to cut out that vibration. And the more you push it, the stiffer it gets. So it's really hard to bottom this thing out.
Right. Very cool.
So from the factory, it came with a carbon fork, and it had an anti-shock stem, and it has an anti-shock seat post, which I think is pretty much a gimmick. And after a few months, it actually failed and broke in half. And the guys at Eric's were cool, and they swapped it out with a really good Specialized stem. But it pretty much is a gimmick. It didn't really help as far as vibration. And so I went with the Lauf fork, which there's other shock stems that and shock headsets that work like the one that you have on your bike.
Right.
And then there's like a Red Shocks, I think is what it's called. And it actually moves quite a bit. It has like 20 mil of travel too. So this one has 30 mil travel, and it definitely works, and you can see it working.
Sure. So you would say though that some of the things out there with the headset shocks and whatnot is kind of a gimmick, but the Lauf fork really works. And guys, I agree with him. You know, I think some things that the bike industry is constantly evolving, things are changing, but I would say there is some things that definitely do work. With my bike, when I'm riding, I can definitely feel the reduction of the bike. It's not something I notice when I'm riding. I don't notice a loss of power, but I do notice that it kind of soaks up a lot of the vibrations, which I like. And would you say the same for the Lauf, I guess?
Yeah, your first step is just going carbon up front, which a lot of the bikes are coming with now. If you have a stem, you can switch from bike to bike. With the Specialized Emerge, it's a whole bike package. It's a really good bike though.
Yeah, so, it's really fun.
So if you want to switch it from bike to bike, then you're going to have to go with a fork or a stem.
Sure.
If you want to switch it in between different bikes.
Guys, thanks for checking out the video. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Got a lot more videos coming up. Gonna do a Bentonville trip here in about a week. Gonna do a whole lot more gravel, hopefully get into Dirty Kansas. So stay tuned, and you guys have a good one.
Come join us on the gravel.
Come join us on the gravel.